I had to bring my A game, let's put it that way, because Jet is 0 to 60. Hello, I'm Anthony DeLongis. I'm an actor, I'm a voice actor, I'm also a Swordmaster, a Whipmaster, and a weapons expert. I think verbal dialogue and physical dialogue combined together are very, very powerful storytelling tools. Well, Fearless was it's kind of a dream come true. And they were looking for somebody who was very good with a whip, and also someone who was very good with a sword. And fortunately, my name kept coming up. My first martial art was fencing, and my fencing master was Ralph Faulkner. Maestro Faulkner was a two-time Olympian, and he was the sword master to the stars back in the golden age of Hollywood cinema. I've had the great joy, to train with some extraordinary teachers, very generous with their knowledge. And I started to recognize that there are certain fundamental concepts that connect the arts. And when I'm not, performing in front of the camera myself, I'm helping someone else make the most of their character-driven action opportunities. So when I help them see the big picture, they don't get as lost in the minutia. Mike Leader, who's casting director and also liaison between Chinese, producers and director, and he was looking for talent from all over the world. And so he shot a bunch of footage. I showed him some things I was doing with with the whip, and so I got the part. There was originally supposed to be 12 fighters. By the time they got around to filming, we were down to 4. So there was myself, there were, as the Spanish swordsman. Then there was the American boxer, Jean-Claude Layer, who was my friend, and there was a fellow who lived in Hong Kong, but he played the German. The last one was, of course, the Japanese expert. I was really looking forward to working, obviously, with Jet Li and also with Yan Wu-Ping. So we got there a week early, and I was hoping to actually get to, work out with the action team a little bit. I didn't know how, Jet and Wu-Ping like to work, but I got there and they were like 5 days behind. So I'm just sitting there being ready, and we're working out. But I didn't meet Jet until I walked on set. Came up onto the platform, shook his hand, and the team immediately started throwing something together. And as soon as Jet and Wu-Ping were happy, he and I got up, we walked it maybe twice, and then we shot it at speed. Wu-Ping would be watching monitor and going, okay, and he would want to accent something, or refine something within the middle of it. So we'd do it again, and then he'd go, and then we would move on and do it all over again. We were literally making it up on the spot. And, but Wu-Ping was, they were coming up with ideas, and he would tweak them to where he liked it. And at one point, he wanted to show this twisting move where, well, it's what Jet does at the end, where I am absolutely totally committed to where he was, and by then he's dropped underneath and thrown the sword up through my guard here in order to disarm me. And he got down there and he twisted, and he stood there for a second, and then in slow motion fell over. And he laid on the ground for a minute, and everybody's kind of going, oh, and then he started to laugh. And then we all started to laugh. Jet and I had no problem communicating. Most of our communication was done through action in response to each other's energy, which was very, very exciting. And our conversations were very fluent.
If you would choose to fight another day, that would really be fine. Please consider this.
Thank you for being so thoughtful. We started this match, let's just finish it. I am here, let's continue. Please.
At the beginning, the first 3 moves they had me do were pokey, 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 with my arm pumping like this, and I'm going, oh God, he thinks European fencing is what he's seen in movies. You know, these are, they're called chambra sometimes. It's a bamboo weapon. They crafted these extraordinarily because initially my friend Dave Baker from Forged in Fire had made me, I talked with Mike Leader. We'd gone over various designs. We actually chose this Hungarian cavalry saber, even though I was a Spanish swordsman. The sabers at the time were military, and they were very similar. And I also took along a patent saber, which is, you know, it's actually double-edged, but it's a straight blade as opposed to a curved blade. And I got to meet Wu Ping, and I brought the sword that I had brought. And he looked at this, and he looked at the patent saber, and then he said, patent saber. But I was saying, well, you know, what would be very cool, through a translator, trying to suggest that since, you know, Jet is using a Chan, this is one of the ones from the movie, which is very cool. This is straight-bladed and double-edged. This is curved and single-edged with a false edge, you know, about a third of the way back on the top. They're not identical weapons like two straight-bladed ones, but, you know, Wu Ping decided he liked this one better, so they're very light, which means they can look kind of floppy and funny. So you have to, you know, things have to be connected to the body so that the whole body tells the story. And I was very thankful for my decades of work that I had done so that I could respond to the energy he was giving me. And that's what it was. Neither one of us really knew what the next move was, but it was based entirely upon what did he just do and what am I going to do about it. And oh yeah, that was sort of what we chose to do, but we just executed it better than if we'd rehearsed it for a lot longer. They were kind of choreographing me as if it was a Chinese weapon, and it's not. But I maintained the integrity of my character and the integrity of my weapon. Sometimes the flow felt awkward to me, and I said, do you mind if, you know, I'll give you those attacks to that in that order, but do you mind if I get there this way as opposed to this way? And I guess one of the team had, things were going well by then, so it was something of a joke. But one of the team said, who's choreographing this? I said, the Guilo. And Wu Ping said, this Guilo knows what he's doing. So that helps smooth the water. I like to attack on target but controlled distance, because then the audience can see what the jeopardy is, and then they can see, you know, what Jet is doing to counter that or redirect that energy. So there's the perception of danger to it, okay, which you don't get if I'm sort of in the area code. I'm coming at you. He got it. He went, you're very skilled. You have a lot of experience and you're concerned with my safety. And I said, yes, I am. He said, me too. And he laughed, and we had a grand time after that.
You're the greatest wushu fighter!
Master, we are honored to have you here. We have a special table awaiting you.
Hey, who went you? Hey.
I'm an expert at not hitting people, which means I can hit you anytime I want to, but the sensitivity and the control that's required to not hit people requires a lot of training, which I'm perfectly willing to do, but it also makes things a lot subtler and a lot more fun. And so I had Jet has that kind of expertise, and you know, so I could match him in our, you know, as our two characters were vying with each other, and within a phrase I had won his trust. And it became, I had to totally commit to where he was going to be, but at the same time, I wasn't going to be the guy that hit Jet in the face. And they're still not without danger, because, you know, this isn't sharp, but this is. It had been a dream, you know, to get to work with Jet, because I've been a fan of his films, you know, for a very long time. But it was so much fun because Wu Ping's choreography allowed us to be a lot subtler and not just bash. It was much more about, you know, the two of us are responding to each other's energy at that moment in time, which is exhilarating.